He wore a tattoo on his chest that said Philippians chapter 4, verse 13. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength, and believed with all his heart that he could achieve anything if he just did one thing. Jon Jones, the youngest champion in UFC history, went through a spiritual transformation in 2010 when he practiced the power of mind, meditation, and visualization, and made everything he wanted come true. He transformed himself from being an average-minded guy to a celebrated athlete who consistently affirmed in his mind that he would become the greatest of all time. Watch how he used the power of his mind to change his life, and you'll be surprised how simple it is.
Be the guy who embraces the ugly, the miserable. Be the guy who embraces hard work, the grind. Don't be afraid of being hurt. Don't be afraid of sacrificing some blood.
Jon was a 185-pound state wrestling champion from Union Endicott High School in Endicott, New York, who dreamed of joining the college wrestling elites at Iowa State. However, he was unable to meet their academic standards, so he enrolled in Iowa Central Community College, a 5-time national junior college team winner, hoping to gain traction. He went on to win the 197-pound national junior college title in 2006 and moved to Morrisville State College in upstate New York to study criminal justice. But his life changed during his sophomore year when his longtime girlfriend, Jessie Moses, gave birth to Leah, their first of 3 daughters. He quit college in 2007, short of 5 credits to get an associate's degree, and worked as a nightclub bouncer making $50 a night. He almost took a full-time janitor's job at Lockheed Martin to avail of the benefits, but more so because he needed money to buy diapers. Then, one day, fate intervened. A stranger on Twitter saw Jon's profile photo and suggested a local gym that trained mixed martial arts fighters. He decided to go for it. Jon went to Bomb Squad MMA in Cortland, New York, and started training for his first fight, which was scheduled in April of 2008. All this time, Jon believed it was God who had orchestrated the deal, because who would have thought that a guy like him with no serious intention of becoming a UFC fighter would cross paths with someone on social media, ultimately paving the way for the biggest break of his life? This was how the law of attraction worked for Jon. He believed he could speak things into existence. He knew where he was going, and he knew what he wanted. That's why the universe paved the way for him. Jon, in fact, manifested his success at the start of his career by signing his signature along with the words Champion 2011. Despite the risk of being called delusional, Jon said manifesting this scenario didn't hurt him one bit. Instead, it helped him believe in it even more. And he was right. On March 19, 2011, Jon won his first UFC title at UFC 128 after defeating Mauricio Rua by a technical knockout in the 3rd round. Jon revealed that the biggest lessons he had learned were utilizing the power of the mind and realizing the importance of believing in oneself. In order for him to visualize his success, he had to believe in it completely. And the more he believed, the more his world started to change. During one of his interviews, Jon was asked where he thought he would be in 10 years from now. Jon said he believed he would still be a UFC champion, as he set his goal of becoming the top fighter in the heavyweight category. And guess what? On March 5, 2023, he won the UFC Heavyweight Championship at UFC 285, defeating Cyril Gane with a guillotine choke at 2 minutes and 4 seconds in the 1st round. But what set Jon apart from the rest was his ability to turn his negative energy into positive force.
Loyal fans ever, I love you all. Thank you so much. Even the haters, all the negativity, all the discouraging things that was said, I love you guys too, because you guys motivated me and pushed me to just keep fighting.
At one point, he talked about having anxieties in the form of butterflies in his stomach, but instead of letting it consume him, he saw it as an opportunity to feel powerful. To quote Jon, having a big challenge or big pressure is like a fire. It's like a raging fire. Either you can allow this fire to consume you and just take you over completely, or you can gain control of this fire and harness it as you blow it right at your opponent like Dragon Ball Z style. No one could deny that it was Jon's positive outlook that brought him to where he was right now. One particular trait that helped him through his life was refusing to let his past weigh him down. He forgave himself for the mishaps in his life, though it took him a while before he became comfortable with the mistakes he had made in the past. For Jon, if people were talking about things he did 5 years ago, then it meant that he was doing something right. Every single mistake served as a lesson not only for him, but also for the people who were following his life story. But perhaps what made Jon a one-of-a-kind athlete was the discipline he had instilled in himself. He didn't only settle with physical training. He took a step further by studying his opponents, learning the proper nutrition to strengthen his body, and researching sports psychology because he believed winning always starts with a mental game. As sports analysts observe, Jon not only had a fighting IQ, but he was a true master in analyzing, reading, and beating down his rivals by using his mind. Jon made it a habit to always analyze the fight footage of his rivals. He would always break the style of his rivals in the smallest details with the help of his coaches, find many weak points, and come up with a perfect game plan to match against the opponent's fighting style. On top of that, Jon used meditation to stay focused on the upcoming fight and to minimize the pressure that came with fighting in front of millions of people. This was the reason why he always looked calm before and during the fight. Between the rounds during a fight, his coaches would often remind him, "Think about the waterfall," which helped him stay in the flow state. Amidst his success all these years, Jon never forgot to acknowledge God and His grace for the blessings that came his way. He understood that not everyone was a believer and some people wished he wouldn't talk about God so much, but he insisted that it was truly God's grace that had sustained him through the difficult times in his life. God pulled him through when he lost his mother, and God carried him through again when he had a 4-year suspension for breaking the UFC's anti-doping policy. Jon kept his faith despite taking a downturn at some point in his life. But it was also his faith that made him believe a bad situation was just a moment in his life and never meant to be a final destination. Jon wasn't perfect, but he always managed to step back from unfavorable circumstances and think of ways how to turn things around. He refused to take things as they were and found another way to learn and grow instead. For instance, he never liked reading, but he had a desire to improve his knowledge. So he chose to watch TED Talks and YouTube videos about self-belief, confidence, and what it meant to be a winner. He would watch hours and hours of Tony Robbins and Les Brown, and he would teach himself about things that an average 19-year-old would never bother to learn. Despite not having good grades, not being the captain of the team, or being average when he was young, Jon took it upon himself to change his life, and he's forever grateful that he's never turning back. Aside from being a faithful believer in God, Jon attributes his success to the way he uses the power of his mind and his core belief that anything he can think of, he can make come true.
I've learned a lot, constantly growing, evolving as a father, as an athlete. I just feel great. I feel great. Many more championships since then. I'm still here.
And so, if Jon Jones can do this, why can't you? Share your opinion if you also experienced changing the course of your life by using the power of your mind. Like and share this story if you find it inspiring because it might help someone today. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.